and then start it again as we return to for the salmon run part. I should bring up this. Alright. Actually, shit, I should also. Okay. So, salmon run. Chris ended up actually doing phase 1 because the man is obsessed and won't take a break even if offered. The mini splat. Oh, Gavin, that's one you could do in your weapons test? Nah, mate. I mean, sure, okay, you could argue, well, you know, the weapons you didn't like are all fine in Turf War, and this probably is too, and you could be right. Because it is fast, and it's just like wind up and drill into someone when they're like in front of you, which I end up being directly in front of people a whole lot. Probably because I'm kind of shit at positioning or sneaking up on people or whatever. But, oh. Slid off. Didn't mean for that. This does tear through ink like a motherfucker, though. What am I lost my train of thought. And sure, but like, you know, I just don't like how this thing shoots either. It's just kind of like, this feels horrifically ineffectual. I didn't think I was in that circle, but fuck me then, sure. Please don't all die to the room. Please get me up. I feel like I'm kind of a pushy prick for saying. Hey. At the same time, it is kind of stirred me for a wee bit. The missiles are already like completely horseshit. Yep. Almost just cast me into the abyss because you wanted to like steal that egg, you fucker. The rains like literally do not stop ever. Everything does not stop ever, Christ. Didn't we just do this map like 2 days ago? Like it didn't go through the whole rotation of stages. Like they did this like not 2 days ago, but like 2 salmon runs ago, I wanna say. More or less like 2 salmon runs ago. That one where we started with like all the shit. We were playing with like our friend the day before. Yeah, that one. So how are we already back around to this one? Did we already do the whole... No, because we didn't do... What the fuck's it called? One of the first... the tutorial stage, the one you do in the tutorial. We didn't do that. I know that for a fact. We're already looped back around to this. And I guess that, you know, they technically don't have to, like, strictly rotate between all the stages, but it would be nice if they did. Did I just not have an egg? I could have sworn I had an egg. Or maybe I put it in, I don't know. Fuck it, yeah, it's away from the thing, I don't even give a shit. This will let me bring 2 over. Ah, for fuck's sake. They were both trying to jump on that. Oh, they hit me now. Just don't tell me he went back into the drink. Oh, that's kind of embarrassing, but, you know, sorry. My bad. It's like, no one's gonna use it because the other one's over. Like, they're all fighting shit. I'll just quickly get these eggs and like, yep. That sounds like... no, okay. Get behind the dynamo, lads. Or don't, whatever's cool. Do they know about the walk trick? No, I don't think they do. Wishing I had the dynamo right about now. Are they chasing me? They're chasing me. Jesus. I guess that's something you could do if, like, you know, when you're like a no voice chat match, you could just like smack a button, like the this way button to say like I am being targeted. But it'd be nice if we just had like a voice command for I am target. I mean, it's not like left and right on the D-pad doing anything. Luigi sleeps on his wee fangs peek through his mouth because the way he rolls his head when he's sleeping. Fucking Octoline poses, but like with like the slight clipping of the like Salmon uniform. Yeah. Did I get through all my... I didn't look up new news to like chat shit about on this to fill time. So fuck if I know what to say. Is that a March? That sounds like a March. Fuck, it is the season for it, to be fair. But still, that's gonna be a nuisance. Last week of June, and like first 2 weeks of July, or like just marching season coming to the 12th, which is just bonfire night. It's just a night of... I've already been over this on the past run. I think around this time last year even. But it's just a time where like half the city just stays indoors and the other half goes and burns shit down, and then claim they aren't being political or like, you know, anti-Republican or like spiteful or hateful towards people who would prefer to see Ireland reunited. And then they turn around and, you know, like burn effigies of Republican politicians and Irish flags. And it's just kind of, this is a allowed stand because, you know, my culture. Even though the same people will fight tooth and nail to deny any kind of culture for Republican or like Irish-leaning citizens, but you know how it is with right-wing people. Fuck you, got mine. This is me being intensely political, but in a flavor you won't know. Because the Republicans aren't right-wing here. Oh, well, fuck me then. I didn't think I was actually on the cursor. I was like, oh, I'll get clipped, but I can get past. You could... I was like sitting beside that guy. He just wouldn't pop up to like shoot me once. Also, I got the mini splat like again in round 1, and that annoys me. Snipers. Some people don't know about like the grenade in the mog's mouth, because I'm pretty sure the tutorial teaches you that. I was the only one alive and I didn't even know it. That's bad. I'm gonna die. Oh, this is the game being rude. I never really did use the sloshers in Splatoon 2. I used them a lot in 1 for a while before like I settled on blasters and got into like before I learned brushes like relatively late. I didn't want to try brushes again. I feel like it's a lot of its mentality and it's kind of like, oh, you've gotten used to just shooting people up front instead of sneaking up on them. If you can get the drop on someone, then you're good. A brush with locator or tracker would be insane. Like, it would be so good. Yeah, that is a March, so that'll probably start turning up on the mic, but what am I gonna do? Go ahead and tell them to fuck off? God damn it. Probably start an international incident. Somehow, because that's the level of drama they throw if you don't like just immediately listen to all of their wasteful practices. What's that? We gotta shut down the town for like hours just so people can stomp through to the same fucking drum beat every time. Wow. Let's just do that. Just all the bad blood of Irish politics coming out in this Salmon run. Luigi has rolled over. He's now facing the other side of the bed. I have not been handed a dynamo once, and to be fair, it's only been, you know, like, this is only the second match, but what can you do? I would like to have it just so I can run co-ops and shit over. He just kind of stood there and let it hit him. And now he's hitting help. Oh, that's definitely audible now, right? I'm gonna have to probably close the window. I'm gonna get a moment's rest and it's the last wave, so we'll just have to suffer it for this wave. It's not like it's bad tunes exactly, it's not like it's a horrible unpleasant noise, it's just loud. And, you know, like I kind of like the stream etiquette such as it is trying to like keep unwarranted background noise or like flashes of outside interference, you know, to a minimum, so you're not like people don't hear your conversations with family or hear family chatting shit about whatever. Or of course, I had a direct shot lined up, but a chum walked in front. One of them has an egg, they can do it. I got it in waste. Alright. Oh, that's woke Luigi up. Adult. Oh, that noise spooked you, did it? You were like, from what we estimated of your age, he was like born around this time last year. So I don't know if it's correct to say this is his first March or not. Oh, come on, wee son. You're okay. You can go back to sleep. Oh, I can still like hear the deep beating. If they walk down my street, then I don't know if I can actually block that noise out or not. So I'm gonna have to just suffer it. I guess it's my fault for doing this right away instead of just waiting, but what can you do? What was I gonna say? I guess I could run that. Oh no, hang on, that's what I can talk about. So like, yesterday, the reason why I like the Splat Festival late was because I went to a friend's house to play board games. Because we do that occasionally. And this is a friend whose house I hadn't been to for one of these sessions, and like every time they've offered to host, something has come up and has made me like been unable to go. Like something has happened, or I just don't have the money because I whatever. But they moved to a new place, and they have it's like it was easier for me to access, and skinned as I am, you know, like ways around. One of my friends was like, yeah, I can just give you a lift home afterwards. You don't have to pay your way back. Which is nice, because I am fucking skinned. I sound like, you know, like some sort of like moocher, I know, but it's hard. It is hard until I get that pay. And I am too proud to ask people for lending money. I don't know if proud is the right word, but is the word that feels applicable. I don't like doing it, basically. It's like something about it is it makes me go like, nah, it's not right. Cannons. This prick. Oh, well, actually they could reach that one. They immediately get louder. I close my fucking window when they're like out back, and now they're just beating their drums louder. I am... Oh, it's because they're in my straight now. Yeah, they're in the straight now. Well, we just have to suffer this. Luigi's going as wide-eyed and going, yep, shit, I'm sorry, my child. This is the country you're born in. This is just what you have to live with. Every so often there's just, you know, cunts will come along and just jam up the entire city for a day and bother everyone because fuck you. That being said, that is not justification to like rub your arse in my face, cat. Please cease this behavior. I was distracted there to talk shit about that and by the beating of the drums. I need to get eggs in. I didn't see that there was making my jump and I just couldn't correct course fast enough. The eggs are all there, but just to get them fucking in, but like, the ink literally does not stop. He has an egg and he's not putting it in. I don't know what he's doing. Fuck me. He had an egg. He kept walking to the basket with an egg, not putting it in, then going back. Brave soul. God damn you. Yeah, you hear that? Welcome to Northern Ireland. Like, it is a fine march tune, like, you know, the drums actually, like, sound nice, and the whistles sound nice, but it is, like, these things are, like, intensely disruptive, like, for, like, people in the places they go through, and just of the town in general. Like, you have to close up roads, especially main roads, because they want to march there, and they just keep doing, they do this, like, several days for, like, across June and July, and it is just, like, fuck me. Could you not? Could you like do it in like some other bumhole part of this city so that we can just like get on with our fucking day? At least it's a Sunday, so like the shops are closed, or most shops are closed and shit. The cat is going slightly apeshit because he doesn't know what the noise is and it scares him. And I don't know what to tell him. I don't know how to comfort him. If I just start hugging him, he'll just freak out and try and claw his way out of my grip, thinking I'm holding him there for the beating monster to come get him. Yeah, I was at my friend's yesterday and we played board games. The first game we played was the Bloodborne card game, which is amusingly a lot simpler to play and actually set up than the Dark Souls like board/card game, which had a gigantic rulebook that actually didn't even explain how to play or how to really set up the board or what the flow of the game was. It just told you how to set things up, more or less, and gave some vague rules about how combat works and what, like, how the progression works. We just had them use most of it out ourselves because it was just a bad rulebook, and I'm pretty sure we played it wrong, but we didn't know how to play it properly because they wouldn't fucking tell us. Bloodborne was a lot more simple. It explained itself a lot better, a lot more simple, lot fewer rules, and it was slightly competitive. Because, you know, every time you did damage to an enemy, you got an equal amount of points from that enemy, and you had these points until you used their card to return to the CF base, the Hunter's Dream. And if you got back, you would bank them, and that would be your score at the end of the game. Those plus whatever your total amount of hits on different types of enemies were. So every time you hit an enemy, if that enemy actually died and didn't escape the fight, you would get there's 3 little meters, one for beasts, one's for cosmic enemies, and one's for just human / mortal enemies, I guess, or humanoid enemies, I guess. I don't know. It was just depicted by a skull. So beast enemies and alien enemies or slug enemies, whatever the hell, because they're roughly the same thing in Bloodborne. Didn't apply to that one. But yeah, oh, yeah. Fuck me, it feels like these things are shooting more and more missiles per game. I know there's 2 of them right now, but it's still piss-taking. Especially when shit like that happens, where that was clearly in and exploded, but then just didn't count because fuck you. Oh jeez, and you can use splashdown to take out the things. It's no, you fucking can't. You have to jump into them to use it. You can't just use splashdown underneath them and destroy them. Because we at Nintendo are great at designing this shit. Now I'm stuck. I'm still a little tired. But yeah, and it encouraged bad manners and cheating people or setting them up to get killed by monsters so that their score would be lower at the end of the game, because the person with the highest score won. And so there would be weapons like the Molotov cocktail, which did 1 damage to both the enemy and also everyone else, except I think even yourself. And you had the cannon, which was the cannon from the game, and if you shot that, it was 2 damage to the enemy and also all your friends. And some weapons had the ability, if someone used the Tonitrus, which is the big electric mace from the game, had this thing where if someone was everyone who used a ranged weapon would have to give you 1 of their unbanked blood echoes, the points. Because if you used it, they would have to give you what they used the ranged weapon that same turn. They'd have to give you 1. I got bolt paper, which didn't fuck anyone over, but it was an item I got from the upgrades. One of the upgrades I got from returning the base once, and that was just for all the melee weapons you have in your used pile, their strength just gets added to yours. This is Steven, guys, getting fucking tits. Please just keep pivoting in front of me so I can't shoot a taxi behind you. Also, the rain is actually eternal. I guess literally everywhere. How many of these things are there? Yeah, that's why I hit the mini splatling. It's just I wind up shooting. It's nah, actually, it's not. But yeah, well, like David won that by 3 points. He got like by the end of it, he had 3 points more than me. And it didn't look like it at first. It looked like he had way more, but I guess he just had them like stacked up more messily or something. And yeah, that was like he pulled a move that got at one point got me killed, or like got someone else killed and put me on low health because he used a certain weapon and it just ganked and the enemy finished them off. And at one point, in trying to like snipe him for blood echoes, our friend Nathan just like whipped out a weapon on a boss that reflects your melee damage onto like the person to your left, while it also gets hit. So he just brandished a big hammer and hit it to get the blood echoes to try and fuck David over, and then just also killed me in the process. So that was fun. And he didn't realize until we pointed it out to him when he actually played the card, and he was kind of like, oh. I think he did actually switch it out, which we probably shouldn't have allowed technically by the games rule, but I wasn't going to argue because, fuck it. I'm not going to argue with that. But, the Bloodborne card game was fun. Like, there's tactics involved. There's, stuff like to represent like the weapon's ability to transform. There's like a transform card that lets you wait until you've seen everyone else's played moves, because like when a fight begins, like before like anyone takes the moves, everyone plays the card they're going to use that turn to hit the monster, and you can use transform to like wait and see everyone else's and then use yours, so you can like respond to like any tactics someone's trying to pull. Stuff like that. It was actually really like well designed, like really fun game. I'm surprised because like the Dark Souls one was kind of a shit fire, but that's kind of a given considering it calls itself Dark Souls, uses like the Dark Souls 1 art and all that. But then it's all like basically exclusively Dark Souls 3 artwork and bosses and shit, which still annoys me. I know that might sound like a petty thing to get annoyed about, but it annoys me because it's just a board game, and like Dark Souls 3 is the most recent one. So of course they'd use that instead, but at the same time, fuck you. Should have just been Dark Souls 1, as, in my opinion at least, it has like the better bosses in terms of like design and just the game in general just felt better designed. Dark Souls 1. I'm not saying Dark Souls 3 isn't bad, but at points, especially like the way all the boss counters are just fight dude. It's basically just a dude. He's fast, he's fake out moves, he has a second phase, and it's just, yeah, just fight him and win. I wish this was another, like a regular blaster, just for the power. That was fun. Finally I got the dynamo, and it's not even a rush wave. My kingdom. Oh. Here they come. Of course the snake's chasing me. I wish this thing were fucking faster, Jesus Christ. I promise you I did the jump attack. Oh, fuckers that they are. Of course this thing doesn't actually stop when you hit it, because why would it? Of course I think. Like, the taxis actually spawn too much. I actually can't get ink back. Yep. I don't know what you're doing. I know it's the blaster, but it's not that bad. we're fine for score. Christ. Yeah, like that was a rad game. I was like, there's like a cooperative element to it because if enemies aren't killed, like enemies attack first, and then everyone else either lives or dies. And if the enemies are still alive after everyone makes their attack, unless they're a boss, they flee. And if they flee, they might have like a bad effect. But if they flee, they also like you don't get all the blood echoes, and you don't get as many bonuses or benefits for defeating them. You don't get like the points for the amount of hits or damage you don't get like a point for killing them, or get a point for like contributing to the kill. Oh, fuck me, because they didn't die. I wish I got the dynamo on this wave, because fuck it, fuck me. Especially because I have the bucket, it just can't deal with a rushing horde like this. So naturally, this is like the most we've seen this mode in like several Salmon runs. We had the dynamo rollers, just that no one seems to know the thing of these stand in place facing forward on a ramp where they can't get behind you and just walk into them. Just step. Oh well. The marching stopped at least, or at least it's fucked off. Well, that's fine. The next game we played, and this was because of why I was late, because despite saying, oh, it takes an hour and a half to do, setup took like 20 minutes to half an hour, and then we ended up playing it for actually 3 to 4 hours, despite what they claimed. And this was on the beginner early scenario. It's meant to teach you how to play. Immediately towards it was called Mansions of Madness, and it's it's a Arkham horror game, so it's based off the H.P. Lovecraft, Cthulhu Mythos stuff, and it's a pretty well designed game. It's actually pretty cool. Like, there's no board technically. Like, each scenario has its own like mansion or area that it just describe. It will, like, as you've got a whole bunch of tiles that they pick rooms, and each mansion just like rearranges these tiles. Like, whenever you open a room, it'll say, okay, put this specific tile here, like arrange it like this, and put these points on it to show there's stuff to do. They stole those eggs, so I had to stop and scratch my nose. And yeah, so like you'd have like here, like this mansion has this particular foyer or entrance, and then you open the room to the right, and like, there's a dining hall here. Whereas in the next game, you might like come in like the yard into the mansion, and you enter and like, you've opened the way into a kitchen, or like into a back room, or like a back hallway, and stuff like that, which is pretty rad, and it uses it cleverly, as I'll get to. And like the scenario we played, like the first one was called Cycle of Eternity, where it was just a very standard, like, there's a creepy mansion on the hill in this like Lovecraft town. It's like near the Miskatonic River, and it's in Massachusetts. It's near Arkham. I think it's actually like on a hill overlooking Arkham, because that's how it always goes. And fuck me. And yeah. Sorry, I'm getting distracted because like fast Salmon, but hey. I think it actually does cover a lot of ground. It's just not very evenly. Of course. The rain cloud is waiting for us. I heard the noise. It sounds like the cat is walking somewhere he shouldn't be. distracted. Where are you? Oi! Where are you? Try does that work? I don't see him. I hope he's not fucking behind the computer. I really hope he's not behind the computer, because he starts chewing shit back there. I got fucking mad, and he could really hurt himself. Luigi, where are you? He is behind the fucking computer. God damn it. Oi! I got him out, but after I'm gonna pause to like rearrange my shit. Of course he would be under there and start like poking and messing with shit. Like I get like the marsh scared him, so he ran somewhere where he'd be out of the way, but you could just run under the bed, cat. There's nothing under there and you wouldn't chew anything. Where was I? Arkham Horror, yeah, so like the guy I picked for this scenario was, his first name was Preston, I forget his surname. But his thing was he was like a local millionaire. I think he basically just owned the fucking town. The little preamble in the manual even said like, "Oh, don't you own this mansion? Like technically, like you own the grounds it's on." It's like, so I picked him. Well, I didn't so much pick him. He was assigned to me because we're like, "Do you want to pick characters? Or you want them just assigned to you?" And I was like, "Well, you should probably just assign them to us because someone has played the game before and they know who the best character is, or best characters are. They'll just pick them." You know, or someone might guess wrong and be like, "This is not what I wanted. This is not conducive to my playstyle after all," and be pissy about it or something, just like they fucked themselves. Shit like that. And it's, you know, it's a fairly standard Lovecraft game. Otherwise, you know, you got like your stats and like you got like a separate health meter and like a horror meter. So you take too much mental damage, you like, you know, you go insane, the usual shit. Hello, Luigi, you're fine. Like, the beating of the drums is left. Just can't see. We're gonna pause a bit while I sort this shit back into place because I knocked everything over trying to get him out. Give me a moment. Oh, I hate it. I hate it when my shit's fucked with except by my design. It's mostly back together again. Right, what am I doing? No, wrong button. Where are we? We're actually near the end, huh? Okay, so yeah, I picked the millionaire, and you know, everyone picked their characters. Like an athlete, there's a street urchin. Everyone has their own special abilities. You have like every time you like get hit, you take a damage card, and you either have it face up, and it might give you a bad effect, or you keep it face down. And if you hit your health limit in either like horror damage is the same thing. You get like a mental effect, and it also represents horror damage done to you. And if what was it? Yeah, if you like you hit your limit, so like I had like 8 physical damage, and you could take like 6 horror damage max. You get like max horror damage, you get inflicted with insanity, and that might change like your. That will change how you play the game. Like it will give you a win condition unique to you, and you have to set it up to win. You might like the one someone actually did go insane, but the insanity they got was just suspicion. Like people just got suspicious of them, so nothing actually changed. Just play the game as normal. But other ones include like you either go nuts and make like a sacrifice to one of the dark gods, one of the elder gods. Which you do is you can just win the game by being in a room alone with one other person with a knife, if you're that type of insane. That happens, you just win. There's Pyromania, which was amazing. It's just you burn down, if you get like 6 fires on the board, you just win. Like, the game just ends, you just win, because you just burned everything down. Apparently, the Elder Gods just can't fucking deal with fire, which is fucking funny to me. That's kind of how I prefer my like cosmic horror shit, is when like they do like they're not just, oh, you literally can't do shit about them, like, oh, just. I know the whole thing is like they're meant to be like impossible to understand, and like they're insane monster, not insane monsters, but like you go nuts if you try to perceive them, because like you seeing things you're not meant to know or can't perceive or can't process. But I can't, like, that doesn't really scare me. That kind of bores me. It's kind of like the cultists and the ritual stuff. Like I all love that aesthetically, because I love my fucked up dark horror aesthetic shit. It's like madman sacrificing shit to demons is like, oh, it's spooky as hell, and like, you make a Castlevania out of that. It's great. But in terms of actually being scared, like, a thing you just don't understand, and it's just kind of like, oh, you just go nuts from seeing it. That's like very boring to me. It's like, oh, it's invincible, you literally can't do anything to it. That's just fucking boring to me. So this game was great because the horrors in it, or basically all the horrors in it, you can just kill them. You can actually kill them, as I aptly demonstrated time and again, because during this game, like, it's a pretty standard plot. It's like people have disappeared in this neighborhood. It's like a butler suddenly calls up your investigator, and like the band of you like go to the mansion, because you went to that mansion before during your thing and you weren't allowed in. You talked to some of the staff, gave like the head butler your phone number, and like they're just kind of, you can't see our master, he doesn't want to see you, his wife died recently, whatever. And it turns like, oh no, he's actually like, his astronomy or astrology society is actually like a mad cult who are like trying to like open a portal to like the Cthulhu hell, and they're like doing the ritual, and you just stumble into it and have to find out like that the ritual is happening. You don't know the ritual's happening at first, but it becomes pretty apparent when cultists just suddenly start running out of rooms at the sound of noises and screaming that the ritual is almost complete, stop them. So yeah, that was happening. That was fun. I just have to save these guys, and then save these guys, and then myself. I cannot save myself. But yeah, so standard like cosmic horror shit. Yeah, like they're having like it turns out like the mansion like was all on the first floor, so they're just having like their spooky ritual in the backyard, and it took us like a good while to get out there because we had the misfortune to keep like either not find things like quick enough, or things kept spawning. And when I say misfortune, I mean I had that misfortune. well, misfortune in this sense. Because, like, so the first thing, like, the guy next to me did, our friend Kieran, is he went into the room next to, like, immediately next to the entrance. So everyone else, like, either crept up the hall or picked a different door, investigated other shit. And he chose to, no, he went in, and then he opened up, like, the dining room and kitchen, and you could see, like, oh, there's the head butler, he's, like, cowering in the kitchen underneath that window, and it's like, why is he cowering? It's like, oh, there was, like, this hideous, like, phantom snake with wings just, like, floating there, and this guy's just being a complete cunt, wasting our time. Like, you don't need to guard eggs, mate, there's only plenty of them. Throw the grenade, please, I'm hitting R. See what I mean? There's plenty of eggs. So yeah, oh god. Just give me a second, got to focus a bit here. Oi. But yeah, so I, like, the snake spawned in, he's like, oh Jesus no, and at the start of the game, like, you're given like a pool of like 5 or 6 items, and you're allowed to split them up among the group as you see fit. So, like, they have different effects. Like, they either boost your stats, so that you, like, get more clues, which are things you can spend to, like, turn failures, like, failed rolls into success rolls, or avoid danger. Because, like, it's all done by dice rolls. So, like, the die have, like, success marks, clue marks, and blank marks. Clue marks let you burn a clue to turn it into a success, so you get, like, you meet the roll you need for checks against monsters trying to, like, give you spooky, like, hurt you or give you, like, mental conditions. I was about to say brain damage, which is technically true because that's something that can happen. But yeah, like, so he got in there, and friend went in there, and, like, the snake appeared, and he's like, oh Jesus no. And at the start of the game, I'd picked the crowbar. There was a crowbar in the starting pool. It was like a heavy blunt weapon with, like, 2 damage on it. I was like, fuck it, give me that. Because everyone else took everything else, and there's only, like, 2 things left, and I was like, I'll take the crowbar. So I walked in right after, and I was like, I'm gonna fight this snake, and I ended up, like, whiffing, like, 2 attacks, and ended up braining it only once for, like, half its life, and fled into the other room, and my friend Kieran, or chased after him to the other end of the room, and he, like, found a knife, and killed it with a knife, and then that made the butler run out of the kitchen, and straight to my square, where he spoke to me, congratulated me for killing it, and gave me a lucky rabbit's foot, which let me reroll 1 dice roll per turn, or per round. And that made him stroppy at me for a bit, which, you know, fair enough. But then, after that, they kept hitting this chain of sequence of events where, like, a cult, like I said, like, a secret door and a cultist appeared, and he was, like, very fucked off with you, and that happened 3 times, and all 3 times it was, like, right at the entrance. Like, they appeared in the front door, the door beside the front door, or just straight up in the dining room through a secret entrance or whatever. And so one would spawn, and then he would spawn on me, and I would have to fight him, and then the moment he died, like, next turn, during the enemy phase, a new one spawned in, was next to me, so he ran straight to me and began being spooky at me. Right before I killed him, another one came in, and then after I killed that one, I was getting to work on the second one. The rest had, like, found, or, like, David and our other friend Alicia had found the final boss. The creepy head priest, he's the man who owns the mansion, big surprise, he runs the secret moon society, whatever it was. I guess I could really just be playing another match while I talk about this, fuck it. But, because I have a lot more to say, and so, like, I essentially was rooted to the spot just with a crowbar, continually, like, first, like, fighting this snake, then fighting a cultist, then another cultist, then a cultist, then a fishman. Just fucking swing. It wasn't always, like, my guy's special ability was that, because, like, the way horror cards work, and I said, like, they can be face up and cause, like, they indicate, like, a damage marker against you, and they also can be face up or face down. And they're face up, they have an effect that may work on you, cause you, like, you roll worse, so, like, use less die for, like, skill tests, or make you take damage or whatever. And what was it? Yeah, my guy's thing was that if he picked up an item, like if he used an action to pick up an item, of course the snake's going for me. If he used like an action to pick up an item, he could either turn one of his face up or horror damage cards face down, turning off its effect, or he could discard a face down one. And my rolls were like the enemy's actions and my rolls were such that I didn't get physically damaged that much. I think like by the end of like these fucking 5 fights, I had only taken like a max of 3 physical damage out of these like what was it, like 8 like max physical HP I had. Oh yeah, and if you hit your threshold once, like all face down ones are discarded, you get handed the insanity or wounded effect, which like greatly limit what you can do or give you like the alternate win condition that could fuck up the game for everyone else, which is fitting enough. So technically you have like twice the amount of HP and mental HP that you seemingly do. Arguably, like technically insanity will like really fuck you over unless you choose to actively play against your own interests. Which, you know, that's getting into player theory, and if you consider like winning it properly the better ending despite what the card tells you. To like to lose so that you can technically win or whatever. But yeah. So you know, my guy has this ability essentially just as long as he has an item to pick up, continually just turn off even like hideous effects like paranoia, or like he's got like the shakes or frayed nerves, or like he's been really fucked up mentally. He can just turn it off by picking up an item and then completely remove it from his system by picking up another. The crowbar counted for that because it's an item. And like the snake, one of the first things it did was disarm me. And then it did some horror damage. Like it inflicted 1 face down horror card or something like that. Next turn I picked it up, discarded the horror, just it's gone, and I just went back to breeding the snake. And that just kept happening. Enemies with like the cultists would like disarm me, they would like hit me and I would lose like my crowbar, like they would disarm me as part of their attack, and it's like you have to like brain them or get rid of them with your fists. So it ended up being this tactical thing where like an enemy would disarm me, but because I had like no horror damage, I just let the crowbar sit there and just fought the guy in my cunts. Fought the cunt with my fist. Just fucking fist fight these hideous half zombie demon cultist men. And like the fishman and all that, and I would just then whenever I took like horror, like I got a horror card, I would just pick the crowbar back up, shrug it off, and like I would be armed again and fight them again. Shit like that. You know, Kieran, who got like particularly fucked up by the snake and something else, like a bad event, like he failed to open a cupboard and ended up gashing his hand open on the cupboard door or something. Yeah, so he was just like find some sedatives in the kitchen, drugged himself up to heal off all his damage, and just lay there unconscious for a turn as I was fighting cultists outside the room. Which is this fucking funny ass image to me of this, because you know it's all 1800, like late 1800s, early 1900s. I mean, like millionaires in that time were basically all hardened criminals, who were either gangsters or like, you know, like they did train heists or shit or whatever the fuck, you know. So it was just shit like that. We just I'm distracted by my talking and not paying too much attention to what's happening because I'm focusing more on discussing this. But yeah, so yeah, and this is so the entire game, like as everyone's uncovering this mystery and the horrors, and our friend Nathan like runs in the back room, fist fights a cultist, then like smashes an urn and ends up calling upon the ghost of the mansion owner. Like his name was like William Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's like a character in the Lovecraft Cthulhu mythos. That name's come up a few times, and yeah, so like, you know, he broke the urn looking for an item in it just because he was like, yeah, let's just do it. And that summoned the ghost upon him, which this happened after like the example of like Alicia, our friend Alicia, where like she used like a word of power. She just found a book in a hallway and a voice said power has a price while giving her a spell, and like the next turn or the turn after, like 2 turns later, it would go like, and you will pay that price now, and like a fishman just got summoned in the air like in front of her. I actually do need to focus a bit here. The rain is making it, not the rain, the missile. It's basically a rain of missiles at this point. Fuck. It means to make it extremely difficult to actually stand around and get eggs here, which we really need. No one's like shooting this fucking steelhead. Guess that falls to me. There we go. Oh, we have a disconnect, so that put us our thing. It's the last wave anyway, so that's fine. I'm dead. I just hope these two survive. But, yeah. So, I was just basically this invincible millionaire man just beating the shit out of cultists and, like, cosmic horror monsters in the dining room the entire time while they're all solving the mystery and, like, confronting the head priest and David. Find a fucking axe and just cut the shit out of the man as I'm just fighting all of his goons in, like, the other end of the building. And Nathan was off, like, stealing items and causing problems for himself, and he ended up getting trapped in that room and fighting, like, a fishman that appeared out of the air, the ghost of Vanderbilt's wife, whose urn of ashes he smashed to get an item. And then the cultist ritual, like, actually worked out, or, like, I guess it was meant to as part of the plan, like, because I don't think we got there too late. Maybe we did. And I feel like because you had to, like, run up to, like, the ritual circle and fuck with it, pass a skill check to disarm it, and David eventually did that, but then it also, like, made the portal open to Cthulhu Hell and, like, a star spawn, which is literally just Cthulhu. It's just, you know, the big humanoid thing with, like, a squid face, tentacles out of its mouth, and, like, dragon wings. Squid dragon, I guess you could call it. That spawned on the map, and it spawned on the same as Nathan, and he was like low health and low sanity because from fighting a ghost and a fishman and other shit, and he just died. Like the star spawn just repeatedly declined on him, and he laid him with status effects that prevent him from moving and attacking and all that, and he just died. We ended up losing the game because it's a tabletop game, but like it's DMs, like the dungeon master or whatever, does it from a tablet. So they read out things in the tablet, like it says, oh, this happened if you have this, if you pass your roll, this happened, if you didn't, this happened. And also it had like little puzzle games you could, like, for certain interact spots, in the scenario, you could, like, you'd have to do a puzzle, like a slide puzzle. You'd, like, you know, like, slide it around to make an image. There's, like, the puzzle where you had to, like, slide blocks out of the way to get one to an end. And the final puzzle was this mad rune thing where, like, you had to get symbols into the right slots, and it would tell you if you got them in the right slot, if you had the right rune but in the wrong slot. But it wouldn't tell you which runes it was talking about. You just had to guess the order. 5 runes, it would give you like 3 responses. You kind of like, 2 of these are wrong, which 2 are wrong. We ended up burning all our turns trying to solve it, and we solved it in the end. But then Nathan had died, and if a character dies, you live literally 1 turn to win the game, or you just automatically lose. And I'm pretty sure, like, even then, like, you probably would have ended the turn after that if we didn't solve it, because it's like, like, when the portal opened, like, it did a fuck ton of damage to everyone, like, because it just blasted a big hell wave that began, like, sucking things into the portal through the mansion, and eventually began tearing the mansion up. Like, the front rooms actually got, because they're all tiles, like, they're just told to take them away from the game board, like the game area, because they've been torn up, and, like, that chunk of the mansion was torn off and sucked into the hole. It was really rad. It was like a really cool game, and I would like to play it again. But that rune puzzle's bullshit, though. Yeah, so that's Arkham Horror. I'm done ranting about that now. I just had to explain all of it, so I'm actually making sense, I realised, but because there's a lot to explain. But it was pretty great. I was one of the, like, it was just all for that mental image of, like, this, like, sassy millionaire gangster prick just stuck in the dining room just with a crowbar and, like, constantly, like, fighting and ultimately fist fighting fucking, like, this wave of cultists and, like, their demonic horrors to try and get him, and it's, like, not getting hurt. Like, any hideous mental affliction they give him, he just, like, shrugs off by just picking his crowbar back up and going, like, see? It's 1930s, whatever. Like, shit like that. It was fucking great. Even if we did end up losing, because you You just abandon the investigation even though the help order is like open, there's a star spawn like coming for you, and you're literally like 1 or 2 steps away from finishing it because, oh no, the horror of your friend dying prevented you from continuing. And that's kind of a weak cop out. I feel like you shouldn't end if like one person dies. Maybe if like 2 or 3 die. Maybe it depends on the amount of players, but like it always a max of 5 players, and we were playing with 5. So like I feel like it should only start doing like that. Everything's completely fucked if like 2 or 3 die. You know, but that's like, and apparently thing like that first like scenario is actually like unwinnable with a certain combination of characters, because because everyone has stats. There's like strength, agility, observation, lore, which is your ability to determine magic shit, willpower, and all that. You know, like if you don't have a character with high enough lore, that you actually just can't win that scenario, and there's enough characters without high enough lore that you can just lose it. But whatever, like I'm rambling still. That was Salmon Run. Chris will probably be along, like, in the dead of night when I'm sleeping, because I have work tomorrow to do his end. So I look forward to that. We'll hear more about the convention and all that. See if he stopped panicking about everything. he sounds like he had a good time. Like, I listened to his one. He's like, I relaxed and it was fine. It's great. So, yeah. Thank you for watching. I don't know. There's something I've been meaning to do like this weekend, but then socializing and that taking too long or longer than I hoped it would take and shit like that, and being tired on Friday and like having like streaming Salmon Run and the Splatfest and all that, and it's just like, argh. So I'm just gonna focus on that. Like the rest of the day, hopefully finish that, and then I have to go to bed early because I'm in work tomorrow. The week 2 of like the 5 weeks until I no longer have to panic about everything. Alright. See you.